Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I'm extremely grateful to Ijaz Nisar Sahab for inviting me here for this very important topic. And I'm very pleased that very important people are sitting here to interact for this important subject. You see that the Pakistan is at a juncture where I believe the Pakistan has lost in the last few years' time on its economic side. And if we start from the COVID-19, in COVID-19 Pakistan did fairly well, but then Russia-Ukraine war in that, and then we had a super cycle in that Pakistan was very badly affected. And during that time, we also had the political issues and problems in Pakistan as well. That also affected Pakistan very, very adversely. And in that period, our rupee had lost its value very sharply, which in fact created a lot of inflation, and in addition to what in fact the super cycle had contributed in that. And in that, that devaluation of Pakistani rupee and the commodity super cycle created huge inflation in Pakistan, which created multiple problems, particularly of high interest rates. Pakistan was also very much initially reluctant to comply to the conditionalities of the IMF program, which they had committed to them, but they in fact delayed it. And because that delay, the inflation numbers in fact went very high, because in a short period of time they had to meet all the conditionalities. So that was the main issue. And then we also had the PDM-1 government. PDM-1 government also delayed many decisions, which in fact also adversely affected the economy of Pakistan. You see that in Pakistan, when we look at different corporate sector and businesses, those businesses are doing fairly well. Because I was looking at the numbers of the corporate profitability of the listed companies at the stock exchange, in the calendar year 2023, the listed companies' profitability has gone up by 51%. And in 2022, it was 13%, but in 21, it has went up by 42%. So generally, when we look at the profitability numbers of the corporate sector listed at the stock exchange, they have fairly done well. So the private sector, in fact, have done fairly well, but whatever, in fact, they have, their performance has been in rupee terms, but they are not very happy because of the devaluation. And when they compare with their earnings with the dollar value, they are not very much satisfied with that. But I think our public finances are very weak. Public finances are very weak because of the, I think, mismanagement of the various governments of our economy, and they have not taken the right decision at the right time. So that in fact has been, and whenever these companies go internationally to raise finances, they say that the corporate of Pakistanis their balance sheets are very strong, their ratings are very strong, but because of the country rating, they in fact don't give us that rating, because they relate that rating with the government of Pakistan's rating. And that has in fact happened, that many of companies' dividends were not remitted in time. Many of the obligations, foreign exchange obligations, were in fact withheld by the government. That also created very negative impression and perception about Pakistan. You see, the Pakistan has a lot of potential, and everybody says that. Even the foreign investors, when they come to Pakistan, they also in fact confirm that Pakistan has a lot of potential. We have a lot of natural resources, and we have a lot of areas where in fact we can do good things by managing them well. But our problem is that our management, particularly the government's side, is very, very weak. And that when we look at the government's balance sheet, I'll take a few minutes more about it, Ejaz Nisar Sahab, with your permission, if you allow. So if we look at the balance sheet of Pakistan, and Pakistan, you see its total debt is about 75% of its GDP. And 1/3 of that is in foreign currency and 2/3 is in rupee. So that, and in terms of dollars, you see the total debt of Pakistan is about $95 billion, whereas the government sovereign debt is about $80 billion. And when I look at the numbers in the last 10 years, the Pakistan in fact has incurred a current account deficit of 80 billion in last 10 years. So whole of the debt, foreign debt, which is standing at present is created by the current account deficit in the last 10 years time. So if our government would have been prudent and they have in fact controlled that, I think that debt would not have been there in foreign currency. And when we look at the government's total debt, only 7% debt is the commercial debt. The balance is the multilateral agencies, the government to government, the Paris Club, etc., etc. And those are the soft-term loans, and they are easy to roll over them as well. So the commercial debts are not very big, is only 7%, but even then, because of our low reserves, we find it difficult to in fact honor our commitments, and every time there is a alarm ringing that Pakistan may default. So again, when we see these numbers, and we have seen that in the last 6 months, the Pakistan economy has stabilized somewhat. What has happened that Pakistan entered into SBA program of IMF, and then they control the speculation in the dollars as well. So that took some administrative measures to control the Afghan transit trade, etc. That gave a very positive result, and our rupee in fact has stabilized the last 6-7 months. Rupee has appreciated by about 2% as compared to previous record of sharp devaluation in previous periods. So that indicate that some administrative measures on merit can contribute in the stability of the rupee. Similarly, the one thing the government has in fact decided is that they decided that our imports should not be more than our exports and the remittances. So that is also in fact contributing well to that, and we have seen that from the current account deficit of 5% in financial year 21-22, it has now come down to only 0.4% of the GDP in the current financial year. So that has also in fact contributed in the stability of the rupee. The inflation is also in fact subsiding, and we are hoping that in the February the inflation would come down from 28% to 23%. So there are signs that here onward our economy in fact would become the stress would in fact fade out in the economy, and there would be some in fact convenience in fact managing the economy. The other biggest problem has happened because of the high inflation and devaluation of the rupee. In fact, interest rate in Pakistan in fact has shot up, and with this 22% policy rate, I think it's very, very difficult for the businesses to sustain and to survive. Fortunately, large businesses and the sectors which are making good money, they don't have the borrowing. They have the surpluses and they have the deposits with them, so they are earning good money out of it. So the sectors like banking are making the huge profits, mainly because of high interest rate. The E&P, because of the devaluation and because of the high interest rate, they also made good money. Fertilizer, in fact, has also made good money. So these three sectors, in fact, which are very heavy weighted in KSE 100 index, has made good money. So now when we talk about the investment in Pakistan, how the investors could be attracted into Pakistan, I believe until and unless the energy rates in Pakistan comes down, because the energy rates in Pakistan is highest in the region. So with this high energy rate and then high interest rates. So high interest rates are also because in the region we are uncompetitive in interest rate as well. And third thing is that because of the high budget deficit, they have increased the tax rates as well. So tax rate, 29% of corporate tax rate and 10% of super tax, I think no business would think of setting up business here in Pakistan. So high energy rate, high interest rate, and high taxation rates. So no businesses from outside would find it viable to set up business in Pakistan. Similarly, the local businesses are also not, in fact, very keen to, to put up new investments in Pakistan because of these reasons. But I believe now, since the inflation is coming down, mainly because of the base effect, as I said that it was 28% last month. Now this month, I believe February's number would be around 23% and go down further. So we can then expect there is slide or decline in the policy rate as well. And as the Energy Minister last night was sharing with the public, that he is expecting that in June there would be a slide in the prices of the gas and electricity as well, because of our currency remain stable. So that he is expecting that about 10% the energy rates are expected to come down. He has also floated a proposal whereby IMF has been approached to reduce the energy rates from 14 cents to 9 cents. If that comes down, so then electricity for industry would also come down from 50 rupees to 27%, which will be affordable. And again, I think in the next year's budget, I believe that there would be a support for the government to make a better budget because of lower interest rate and because of the lower energy rates as well. And the State Bank also has made an additional profit of 1 trillion rupees. So 1 trillion additional profit would also be going to the budget in their non-tax revenue. So that it is expected that the next year's, it would be easier for the new government to make the next year's budget in a better way, and they will not have to put additional budgets. But at the same time, there is a need of going or entering into a new program with IMF. So that also is a factor which in fact would be a determining factor that how the future of Pakistani economy and the investments would do. So when we now talk to the foreign investors at present, I have spoken about some things which in fact have happened in Pakistan. But when we talk now with the international investors, we tell them that since July under the SBA program, Pakistan economy has started stabilizing, rupee value has stabilized, foreign currency reserves have also increased, stock market has also increased by about 45-50% during that 6-7 months time. So, and then the element of this SIFC. SIFC also gives some hope to the investors because in that they have identified the areas of agriculture, mining, IT, and energy sector. And we, in fact, also try to convince them to put it into the real estate development as well because that is also a job creator in our economy. So, with this weak mandate of new elections, everybody is worried about it, but then some are hopeful because the forum of SIFC there. So that SIFC would ensure that things remain on track and things which in fact, because many of the business people were of the view that this caretaker government be given a longer tenure because they were doing a good job. But this hybrid system of the elected people and the establishment could bring some stability into Pakistan's economy. So these are my few thoughts about what has happened and what is happening and what is likely to happen in my view. And as far as the stock exchange is concerned, the valuations are very cheap there because still after a rise of about 45-50%, the price earning multiple is 4.5 there, whereas in the neighboring countries, in Bangladesh, it's about 12, 14 in India, it's 22. So there is a lot of potential, and once the interest rate would come down, definitely the valuation would then be, in fact, be re-rated, and I think there would be some good opportunities for the investors at the stock exchange as well. So with this, I thank you all.